causes me to tremble, tremble, tremble. Were you there when they crucified my Lord?
Welcome to the Tuesday of Holy Week as we meet the second of the people who were at the cross. Mary Magdalene's reputation has suffered a lot from rumors and misinformation over the centuries. There's no evidence she was a former prostitute. That rumor was started in the 7th century by someone who confused her with a sinful woman in Luke chapter 7. She was never romantically connected with Jesus. That too was a rumor started centuries after Jesus and which in the last 50 years has been exploited in books and movies. So who was Mary? Scripture depicts her as a devoted follower of Jesus. She shows up in Jesus' story in Luke chapter 8, verses 1 to 3. There Luke says, Jesus traveled from one town and village to another, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom. The 12 were with him, and also some women who had been cured of evil spirits and diseases. Mary, called Magdalene, from whom 7 demons had come out, Joanna, the wife of Chuza, Susanna, and many others. These women were helping to support them out of their own means. Like Salome, who we met yesterday, Mary was one of several women who traveled with the 12, helping to support the ministry, both financially and with practical labor. Magdalene refers to Magdala, a town along the Sea of Galilee. Just as Jesus was sometimes called the Nazarene because his hometown was Nazareth, Mary's name was attached to her hometown to help distinguish her from the other Marys. Luke tells us Jesus had cured her of 7 evil spirits. I don't know what that would have looked like, but the number 7 is often used to describe completeness, and so 7 demons would be used to describe someone whose life was completely broken and messed up. Like the man full of demons who roamed the graveyard, also in Luke chapter 8. Mary would have been an outcast, treated as unclean. She would have carried a stigma wherever she went. And it was in this broken and messed up state that Mary first encountered Jesus. Luke doesn't give us the details, just simply that when Mary met Jesus, he healed her. He restored her life, and she became a lifelong follower, even to the cross. All 4 Gospels list Mary among the women who stood by Jesus at the cross. Not even Peter, who had vigorously proclaimed that he would die with Jesus, was at the cross. But Mary, who in her earlier life many would have written off as hopeless, remained with Jesus, dying, hanging on the cross, when all hope was lost. Jesus had not abandoned her, and she would not abandon him. The truth of Scripture is that we are all broken in one way or another. Some of us may feel it more than others. Some of us may show it more than others. But we all have brokenness within us. Perhaps you have dreams that you know will never be fulfilled. Perhaps someone or some people have hurt you. Perhaps you've made mistakes that you feel like you'll never be able to overcome. Perhaps you have a weakness of which you feel ashamed. Perhaps you have experienced a grief which has not yet healed. You are not alone. Scripture tells us we are all created in the image of God, and in all of us sin has marred and broken that image. We are not as God intended us to be. And as a result, we all experience hurts, feelings of emptiness, lostness, confusion, anger. But when we look at Mary Magdalene, we find that God specializes in restoring broken people, and that no matter how broken or hurt we might feel, Jesus can heal and restore as we believe and trust in him. And he has purpose for us in ministry. Mary gave her life to serving Jesus and others in the days of Jesus' ministry. Her devotion extended even beyond the cross. She was devastated when Jesus died, and yet so dedicated to him that she demanded of the gardener that he returned Jesus' body so she could make things right. Jesus, just by speaking her name, restored her world again. In her moment of deepest pain, Jesus simply spoke her name, and she saw clearly the man who had made her whole and was now making her the first apostle. Apostle simply means one who is sent, usually one who is sent to tell the good news. In John's Gospel, Mary is the first witness to the resurrection, and Jesus sends her with a message. In John 20:17 we read, "Go to my brothers and tell them, I am ascending to my Father and your Father, to my God and your God." Mary Magdalene went to the disciples with the news, "I have seen the Lord." And that can be any of us as well. Mary's story, broken, restored, and sent, is our story too.
Were you there when they crucified my Lord?